Hi guys, I'm gonna do another reading from my book. Just doing short little snippets so you guys get little teasers on each chapter. So I did the prologue, did chapter 1, so now this is chapter 2. It's called Nothing Lasts Forever. So let me see where I can start. So just a little preface, because I'm kind of jumping in the middle of it. Dominic was someone I met on my people to people trip in chapter 1. Him and I kind of had a little fling. So, just so you know who he is when I say his name. So, I'm gonna start here. So, after I got settled into my room, I went to go find the nearest internet cafe and try to call Dominic and let him know I was in town. I stood in the booth, nervously thinking, what do I say? Will he remember me? Should I say hello in German or English? What if he doesn't want to speak with me? What if he's not home? I dialed the numbers with my heart in my throat and heard the ringtone. As I waited for him to answer, half wanting to hang up, and as I continued to hold the phone started speaking in German, a message I didn't understand. I tried again a few more times, and the same thing happened. I opened the booth door and looked around for someone who hopefully spoke a little English to help me. I showed her the number I tried to call, and when I pushed on the phone, she said, "Oh, you have to put the country code first and then dial." She dialed for me, and I knew soon he would be on the other end. A man with a slight British accent answered, and all I could say was, "Hi, do you remember me?" After I said that, I thought, good job, Laura. You didn't even say who you are. How is he going to know who this is? Asking, do you remember me? He said, of course, I remember you, my little princess. Please tell me you're here in Vienna. My heart rose in excitement, partly relieved that he remembered me. Where are you? He asked. I told him where I was, and he told me I wasn't far from the train station and mentioned which stop to get off. I was in disbelief that I was speaking to him again, and I only made out the third stop. I assured him that I would find it. I rode to where I thought he said, but it didn't look right. It looked like a bad area, and I was confused because he never mentioned he lived in a bad area, and said he was only a few stops from where my hostel was. The train conductor spoke over the speaker first in German and then in English. This is the last stop. Please transfer to your next train. Confused and worried that Dominic would think I stood him up, I found the train to go back to the main station and called him from there. So I'm guessing you're lost? I laughed and apologized. Dominic told me the directions again, and I paid more attention. I found his stop. My heart and thoughts were racing, and butterflies filled my stomach. I quickly walked down the street to the main level. There he was. The same sexy, messy hair, his smile that made me smile every time he looked at me. He was in a crowd of people waiting, and he hadn't noticed me yet. I snuck around to surprise him. I slowly walked up to him and tapped his shoulder. He quickly turned around and picked me up with the biggest hug. "Oh, Laura, I've missed you. Come. My apartment is a short walk from here." Side by side, we held hands and walked to where Dominic lived. We both were in disbelief that I made it. I said, "Isn't it nice to not have to worry about Angela's angry face?" Dominic laughed. We were inseparable. His apartment was beautiful with big French windows, a bunk bed with only a top bunk and seating underneath. His room was filled with white sheets and plump pillows. I said, "Oh, you have a bunk bed? I'll just sleep here." Dominic said, "You're more than welcome to sleep next to me, but you may sleep wherever you wish." Young, naive, and inexperienced, I tried to play it off and change topics. We talked for hours, reminiscing about our trip with people to people and how excited he was that I made it to Vienna. I noticed a guitar leaning on his wall. "Do you play guitar?" I asked. Dominic picked it up and strummed the strings to tune it. He said, "Please sit and enjoy as you hear from the best guitar player in Vienna." I playfully rolled my eyes and obliged. He played nothing I could recognize as he went into a musical trance. I lay down on his couch as he continued to play. I could see the curtains flaring up as the wind blew. and I could close my eyes as I was slowly being serenaded. I awoke to him laying a small blanket over me as he sat next to me for a minute. I opened one eye and smiled.